Yo, what is going on, my little Crash Course dummies? Welcome into the Crash Course Metal Show, and we got here our third installment of Hairspray and Headshots. So, the game that you are seeing is Killing Floor 3. Yes, we will eventually be adding more games into the repertoire of B-roll here for these videos. But as of now, this is Killing Floor 3. Nice and bloody and gory and action-packed for you guys. So, let's jump into why we're here, though, and that is for hair metal, metal in general, just the news, just fun topics. We actually have a pretty big segment today with a couple of guests, if you will, that called in for the topic of this video today, and that is going to be live rock shows or like live concert disasters. Like just shows that just did not do it for us or just had a horrible time all the way through. Just or the show might not even been canceled and you weren't aware of it. So we will certainly have Patrick on. We will have AJ on. We will have Ryan VK on as well. Maybe a couple others here to give their stories. So, but first, let us jump into the news, which there isn't that much, I would say, that I seen this past week or so. So the first news story, I guess, that I will talk about, I seen people post on socials on January 1st that MTV stopped all of its like music channels. I think the main channel is still alive and still on cable, but I think the other ones like MTV 80s, MTV Music, and just like the different shows like that. And I'm guessing that means MTV Classic as well. I don't know. Maybe it's a lot of other countries like over in Europe and Africa and stuff that cease to exist now. But I have to actually check my listings here and see if like MTV Classic, because now I did see that like Metal Mayhem or whatever the metal, like the Headbangers Ball on MTV Classic, they do that Friday and Saturday nights. And I seen like a couple weeks ago that was still there, that was still alive. So, but I haven't checked the last couple days, obviously with the new year. So that'll be interesting to see this weekend and see if that's still there or see if the channel is even still there, actually. So I'll have to do that. But at the end of the day, does anyone really care? I don't give a shit. Like it is cool to see like the like I said, I forget. It's like Metal Mayhem or Metal Mania or something like that now, where it's like a couple hours, like 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, where they play like 80s or and 80s, 90s, and now almost now, somewhat new, metal videos. And it's cool for what it is, but like usually if I'm watching TV, it's gonna be something else. Cause like obviously you watch YouTube for the music videos. You do like you see everything YouTube like documentaries and stuff. You see everything like that. Like it's not, and you get commercials like after every two episodes. So it's like what I don't know. Like I even remember back in the like when I was in middle school and high school, like getting into music, wanting to see. Obviously, now VH1 was a big thing as well when I was young. And I remember I had to wait up like summer nights, like till like 11, 12 o'clock just to see any music video block. Like, and it was horrible. Like, you guys are VH1 and MTV, and you guys are not playing any kind of like music videos or even like a countdown. Like, talk all the shit you want on CMT, which I guess the regular CMT now is like all just shows reality and shit too. But like at least CMT like held out for a long time and played music videos and had a lot of countdowns and shit like that. Like at least they kept music relevant to their channel. But like I said, recently it's not really like that either. So they kind of fell to the wayside as well. But they do have like all these other offshoots as well, like that does play all the country music and stuff, which, is cool for country music fans. Like I don't I mean, I'm not a big fan, but like I'll play that over any other like MTV shit other than, like Metal Mayhem or Metal Mania or whatever. But man, like at least they know who they are, like that kind of thing. Like I can respect that. But yeah, I don't know if anyone really gives a shit. MTV could go away altogether as far as I'm concerned. MTV died in the 90s, like I after like the Beavis and Buttheads and stuff like that. Once those shows even went out of rotation and stuff, like MTV really died. Like I remember too, like the one year in like 2005 or 2006, VH1 had a metal month in May, which that was absolutely awesome because that's when that metal show kicked off, like premiered, and that was awesome on the actual channel. I don't like because I think after like it might have been after the month of May or after that like first season of that metal show, then it went to VH1 Classic, which kind of sucked because you had to have VH1 Classic then to watch that. But I think at the start it was on VH1 first. I could be wrong. Like I said, I was like 12 or 13 years old. It's like or 14 maybe, 13 or 14. But like, yeah, my memory is a little shot there on that. But I remember it was awesome because they did play music videos a little bit. They had countdowns. They had cool like top 100 list and stuff like that. So that was actually like a really cool month. And I remember the next year I was excited. I'm like, oh, are they going to do this again? Like I was hoping, and no, I got some more bullshit, basically. More drama bullshit, more not even rock of love even. Like come on, give us something. You had that Flavor Flav. Like even like Rock of Love like is horrible. Like that's pretty bad. Like when you had Rock of Love and that seemed okay to you because there was absolutely nothing as far as like rock and metal on VH1 or MTV, and you thought, oh, Rock of Love's cool because it's actually something 80s or actually something metal and rock, and yeah, it's just we gotta do better as society, guys. We gotta do better,
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
especially in the music community, and that's why VH1 and MTV no one gives a shit about them because they don't even know what they are. Like, get that shit out of here. All right, there's a little rant there for you guys. But yeah, I mean, I remember when I was young, it was horrible. Like, I remember seeing like Maroon 5 like at midnight and Fallout Boy and like even My Chemical Romance, I think, was on there a little bit. Um, like on the late nights and stuff. Like, it was just not very good. Like, and it was weird because like even then, like at 13, I'm like, I guess this is okay because like at least they play instruments and at least like they have some kind of like rock sound, if you will. But even then, like you just wanted that nostalgic feel of like what it was like in the 80s and 90s of watching music videos. And that is certainly the bottom the bottom of that experience.
This is dark. This is it. He goes, Sam, when did we hit the bottom? This interesting sense of humor of yours. This is it.
For what we went through. But then even after that, like even after those couple of summers, it's like you don't even see nothing on the main channels anymore. So yeah, fuck MTV. All right, fuck them big time, and they absolutely do nothing for the music community anymore. No matter what they might say or do, it ended a long time ago, and thankfully, the internet took its spot and YouTube took its spot. Just just the independent like journalist and independent content creator and music fan can do their part now with shows like this or like any music show that promotes albums that they love and music that they love does way more than what MTV ever did. So yeah, there's that. Now, yes, it is a different generation, a different time. You're talking 40 years or give or take 25 years, I guess, when YouTube really started to become like a podcast thing and a lot of independent people really branched into it and stuff. So, but still, the it's certainly a better landscape than what it used to be, 100%. I would take today over the 80s MTV any day. Just looking back on it, like you were force fed stuff, which sometimes is good because like you wouldn't realize you would like a song if it never would have came up in the MTV rotation by chance. So that's cool. But then you also had you had your own niche stuff like Headbangers Ball, the MTV Raps show and stuff like that. Like you had different stuff and different genres and stuff like that, which is cool. They had their own blocks. But overall, though, like yeah, we miss those days, or like people miss those days. But then you go back and you're like, oh, there was a lot of shit that was being played in the '80s. Though still, like music that I would not. I'll watch something else during these times if I didn't like this music video or if they're not playing metal stuff for an extended period. So yeah, YouTube is just better. Your algorithm is just better at giving you stuff that you will like. And I just think it is an outdated model. So I understand as a business side like why MTV doesn't do it anymore, and why it is kind of like a lagging business model. So I get it, but at the same time, then just change everything. Don't call it MTV anymore. It's like Molly Crew. Don't call it and Guns N' Roses. Don't call it Johnny. Don't call it Guns N' Roses when you release China's Democracy, or Molly Crew 1994 when it's not Molly Crew, and people ain't gonna like it. So why are you gonna keep calling it that? And no matter how good the content may be in those albums or on say MTV or VH1, which they're not, obviously, but for just random people, if they like that content, then just don't call it VH1. Don't call it MTV. Call it something else. That's just where it is. So that's enough about that news story. So we're going to talk a little bit about or actually, we're going to talk about the main segment now, and that is live shows that just, what are your worst live shows that you've been to? I'm sure everyone has at least one. We have a couple here. We had people call in, but I'm going to give one here of mine first that is not necessarily horrible, but I did have to walk out. So I guess early. So I guess that is something to say that this is a very bad show or disaster. Now, this is a show that I've seen probably about 45 years ago plus now. It was Kix, it was Jackal, and I think it was Tesla. I think those were the three bands. And obviously, Kix, I've seen them plenty of times. They always put on a great show, high energy. Same thing with Jackal. I've seen Jackal plenty of times and always high energy. So those two had great shows. Now, I like Tesla, have all their stuff, just not the biggest fan. Like I said, I like them, but I just don't go back and visit them much and stuff. And like I was excited because this was the first time I seen Tesla, and I was excited. I'm happy. Oh yeah, I'll see Tesla. That's cool, especially with this bill. But man, there was something missing. Not that necessarily anyone sounded bad or anything. I think some of it was the energy just wasn't there, especially when you come after Kix and Jackal, arguably two of the highest energy bands of the 80s scene, like of this hair metal scene. And it honestly, like, Tesla could have put on the best show that they ever did, and it still wouldn't match the energy that Jackal and Kix have. It's just, at least in my experience and from what I've seen, me and my dad, I think we actually left like we didn't leave like halfway through. We left like near the end. You could tell it was like one of their last songs. I think they do like, we stayed there a decent amount for the set, but then like once Love Song came on, I think we kind of really started heading for the door. Because obviously like that's, going to be one of their last songs. And I was ready kind of to leave. I was like, not that it was hateful, but I was just ready to go. It just, man, Jackal and Kix just blew them off the stage. And, you could say Keith's voice, it wasn't really on either that night. And that could have played a part in it as well. But yeah, I just was not the biggest Tesla fan that night either. Nothing necessarily against them. Like I said, everything sounded okay and stuff. It was just coming off of Kix and Jackal, man. Like that energy, like anything with less energy, and like you just kind of I don't know, like taking it for granted a little bit. Like it just seemed like that's kind of like the energy that Tesla had. And when you come off those two bands, man, and you're giving us that, then yeah, I am, especially on a work night yet, like I'm out, man. And that pissed me off because I don't like leaving early when I pay for something. Whenever I go to a baseball game, whenever I go to any sport game, I do not leave early. I don't care what the score is. I am not leaving early. I paid to see this game, and I'm going to enjoy it. Like that's how I am with a lot of the stuff. Same thing with like movies as well. Like I ain't leaving early. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that mindset with people when they leave early to stuff. But I did do it, so I guess technically you say that was a disaster then by my definition. So that is mine. So let us jump to Patrick. Patrick Reeves, actually, he called in and he gave us a little disaster for him. So let's see what he has to say.
So in October of 2023, I went with my friend Dave to go see Skid Row with Eric Gronwall in Lynn, Massachusetts. And if you know anything about Lynn, they call it Lynn Lynn, City of Sin. Once you go back, you never come in again. So Lynn, Mass is about 3.5 hours from where we live. We got up at like 8:30 in the morning and drove out there because we had the meet and greet. Drive all the way out there, get totally lost trying to find the Civic Center where it was going to be. And we get there, and this was when they were touring with Gronwall, and they had Buck Cherry as their opening act. So we get there, and we see these buses. We had to be there for 1 p.m. because that's when the you could go in and meet and greet and watch them sound check and all that crap. We get out there. It's been 3 hours. It's kind of a rough neighborhood where this place is. And we get in there. We see these tour buses. We can't find the entrance. So when we finally stop some roadie guy who was pulling gear in, and he looks at us like we have three heads. I said, "Is this where the Skid Row meet and greet is?" He looks at me and goes, "You haven't heard? The show got canceled." That blew. So that was when Gronwall wound up with like the flu and he got really sick and they wound up canceling most of the rest of the tour. They rescheduled the gig for like 10 days later. Couldn't go because I was in the middle of something at work. But anyway, that was probably the worst concert experience I ever had. Trevor, your show rocks. Keep kicking ass.
Alrighty, Patrick, thank you very much, brother. We will have Patrick on. He will be on a show in the near future. I will not give away which show it will be, but it will be fun nonetheless. But as far as Patrick's story, I never heard of Lynn, Lynn Sin, Massachusetts. Sounds very interesting in and of itself. It rhymes. It might be like a Dr. Seuss type type rhyme there, but it sounds like a mini Vegas maybe. Once you leave, you don't come back, or the stories don't leave Lin. Okay, that kind of sounds Chinese a little bit too. Lin, sucky sucky.
Well, $20, 20 minutes. One Friday, you and me, Fry Man. Blow the lid off the joint! Yeah!
I don't think so, Carl.
What, you gay?
Anyway, yes, that absolutely sucks. With not getting notified or knowing that the show was even canceled to begin with, that is horrible. Especially when you got to go to like a shitty part of town, like you said. Like that is the worst. That also deters me, especially nowadays, like from going to a show, especially if it's a show that's not that I don't mind passing up. Like mainly because of the parking. That's the main deal. Like I do not want to deal with the parking bullshit. And once you get into like cities, that you do deal with a lot of that shit. That does suck because that would have been cool to see Eric. I don't know if you've seen him at all before, but seeing it, like I like that album with Eric and Skid Row. The Gang's All Here. I like the title track. I like Tear It Down. There's a decent amount of tracks. There's another track on there I'm thinking of that I really like, and I can't remember the song. Anyway, very good stuff. Eric, it's a shame that he did leave, and it leads me to say I think that was what Skid Row needed, and it's a shame that he left because I don't know if they're gonna get anyone better than him again as like a second chance. Everyone can say about the other singers that they had, which they did fine and everything, but it obviously isn't the same, but Eric is better, I think, than the other singers, other than Bach, obviously. But you're not really gonna get Bach back, so it's kind of like beating a dead horse now. I doubt we will ever. I'm not gonna say never. We'll never see that, but at the same time, everyone's pretty stubborn on not really getting back together. So unless there's a lot of growing up, then it's probably not going to happen. And what are they, 65 plus now? They had a lot of time to grow up, and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm not holding my breath. And yeah, that's just a shame. And you couldn't make it because of work, man. The rescheduled. That's just horrible. Hopefully you got refunded. I can't remember if you said anything about refund, but man, that would be horrible if you did not wasn't able to get a refund either. Might be a crime against humanity almost there. Might have to take someone to court there, Patrick. Anyway, definitely that is a good album. I wish Eric stayed with Skid Row a little bit longer, but he is gonna do fine no matter where he goes. He is gonna do just fine, and obviously with his health too. That's a big deal. Of dealing with outside drama, and Skid Row is full of that just because of the baggage of Sebastian Bach. So yeah, that when you're not healthy to begin with and you're dealing with that, like I know 100% about that. I know all about that. And it's just not nothing matters. Nothing matters when it comes down to that. When that is your main focal point and fighting for your life basically. And it's just when you're up against the wall like that, you're like, fuck this. Like it'll be here or this isn't that big of a deal to my life anymore. And so I totally get why Eric did that if that is the reason, which probably does play a bigger part in what they say in it, as to what Patrick said. But yeah, I think it totally makes a ton of sense, and I get why Eric. He's like, you guys are 60 plus years old and you're still dealing with bullshit, like, and he's like half your guys' age and super talented. He doesn't need to deal with this. He doesn't need Skid Row. Which is cool. Which is cool to be in Skid Row. I'm not taking anything like saying that that's a bad thing, but all those different elements, I just feel like that is probably was like the main straw that broke the camel's back, and that's a pretty big straw, nonetheless. So, Pat, I'm sorry that 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 was a disaster for you, and have to talk. I might have to talk a little bit more about that album. I did do reaction videos when Tear It Down came out, but I never did like a review. I don't think of that, and I haven't really listened to that album actually for probably close around the time that came out. So I might have to dig that back out and check it out again. But I do remember liking it though. I do remember that. I remember thinking like, okay, yeah, this is total potential here as far as like Eric staying with them and catching lightning in a bottle again with the second singer that they've been lacking for since the 90s. So yeah, all right. That's a good deal there. Thank you, Pat, for the sad story. So let us move on here. So we do have AJ calling in here on his disaster live shows. So let's see what he has to say. You've been to a lot of shows. I know that. And
Yeah.
we have also been to a decent amount of shows over the past couple years at least. So can you kind of tell everyone here what one of your biggest live show disasters was?
My biggest one, I will never forget it. I was so excited to see Faster Pussycat back in 2005. It was a place called House of Rock. It was in White Marsh, Maryland. That place is no longer there. It's been like 37 different things. But anyway, this was back in 2005, and I was a big fan of Murder Dolls, and I heard Eric Griffin was playing with them. I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the first I've heard of him since, what he was doing with them. Like he was always playing out in California, but that was like the first time I've seen him since Murder Dolls, like in another band. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta go to this show. So I went to that show and I was on the side of the stage and I could see everything on the stage. Like I was literally like a step away from where the stage was.
Mm-hmm.
there was a couple of bands that opened up, which was decent, but I just that night there was like a weird, eerie feeling, and something was off, and I knew something bad was going to happen. Anyway, the first song kicked in. Uh, Tammy was just he was completely annihilated, like annihilated. His pants were falling down. He kept trying to pull his pants up. The first song is like the verse, like he missed a whole verse, and then he tried to come in with the first verse on the second verse. It was just crazy. And then Danny was him and Danny were arguing on stage. Like, let me get to this straight. They only got into 3 songs, and they were supposed to play like 12 songs that night. So they got like barely into 3 songs. So the second song, him and Danny got in an argument on stage because Danny was drunk, and then they fucking pushed each other. Danny like fell, and then he fucking walked off the stage. He slammed his bass guitar down, walked off the stage. Tammy was still annihilated, trying to sing, and just the band was continuing to play because it was Christian and Eric just playing, and the drummer, I forgot his name. I'm talking. You know the drummer's name is. I can't remember.
What year was this?
This 2005.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, this is 20 years ago, but and I will never forget it. And and then Eric Griffin, like he got fucking pissed, and he threw the guitar down. And he started to pick up the bass guitar and started playing it because Christian was playing a lead guitar. And I was like, I know he heard me scream. I was like, fucking finally. And then Tammy was trying to kick in, but Tammy couldn't fucking sing a word. Like, and they just walked off stage, and that was it. Like, it was done. Like, Tammy walked off stage. Christian and Eric was the only ones left on stage, and Eric just fucking threw the guitar down and walked off.
So
and that was it.
So an early night, huh?
It was so back then, if there were smartphones, those back then was like Nokia phones and StarTech phones and shit. There was like I have pictures of this show because I had a Kodak throwaway camera, and I have these fucking pictures still. But I remember it, and if there was a smartphone back then, oh my god, I would love to see the video on this. Like, I know people were videotaping it. I tried for a few years to try to find some kind of like footage of this, and I can never find it. But I'm telling you right now, that was like the worst show I've been to. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Now that was the time when like Faster Pussycat was doing Tammy was doing like the goth stuff, right?
You got it. You
Okay,
got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was drinking pretty bad back then. He don't drink anymore, thank God. But he was
Right.
like fucking just inflamed in his face, and he was just
Yeah.
like
I do remember seeing videos of that time era, not of that show, but like of that time era, and he was pretty heavy, like
yeah,
weight wise and stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah, man. It was an experience, and my ex, like, that's the first time she ever saw them, and I was like, because she knew I talked about them, but and she was like looked at me, and she was like under her breath, what the fuck? I was like, I don't know. And Eric, like, I talked to him after the show. He was so fucking pissed, Crash. Like, he was so mad.
I'm
Like, his
sure.
face was red. He was so pissed. I feel like he was wasting his time.
Well, exactly. You want to put on a good show for the fans, and then you got shit like that going on. Like, that's just not good. It's just not a
Yeah.
good look.
No. But I mean, and then after that, it was like, I think there's a video of Danny, like, he was drunk and he like fell into the speaker of the drum set or something. This was like recently, the past like few years. But I mean, that's it. Like, that's the only show that I can see that I was like, oh my God, this is fucking insane.
Yeah, that sounds like quite a watch, for those
Yeah.
3, 4 songs.
Yeah.
Well, another reason this is perfect that you came on for this type of segment because we had a couple experiences that we could talk about. The first one that comes to my mind,
Oh, no.
first, which there's a couple, but the first one that always comes to my mind, I think is like one of the most recent ones that we've been to, was
Yeah.
when we missed like most of Nelson's set
Right.
because they told us the wrong time. Like the
Yep.
ticket said 6:30. This show
Yes.
starts, and
Yep.
Nelson comes on and does Do I love you, baby? Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh my
Yep.
God. And we were out in the parking lot drinking still. We heard that. We're like, we were praying that it was just sound check. And it
Yeah,
was.
because you and I looked at each other. We were like, "What the fuck?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "No, no, they can't be playing." You were like, "No, they're not. I know it." And I was like, "It's got to be sound check." I remember.
Uh, and that's like our favorite song too. It was like,
Yeah.
and he let off with that. And we didn't even get into like, we just saw like the last two songs. And
Yeah.
it was acoustic too, which was kind of weird.
Oh, that was bullshit.
Yeah, I mean that is like what they do now, but like it didn't say though on the ticket either that it was acoustic. It just said Nelson, and usually they do distinguish between the two.
Right.
Nelson does anyway. But
Well, they had the original drummer there too, Bobby Rocky played for
yeah,
Lita Ford. I mean,
yeah.
what the fuck?
What?
You could have got him, and you guys could have did something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean that's the bare minimum. You all three of you can play the instruments and sound good. Like
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need a bass player or
Nope.
what have you. So
Nope.
God, yeah, that was very upsetting, and then that just set the tone for the rest of the night because like
Didn't you have like hold
Firehouse.
on a minute? Didn't you have like Robert Mason on your show like a while back or something like
Yes,
that? Did you
yeah.
ask him about that?
I did not. I was going to say what was going on that night because like
Yeah.
everyone there seemed to be every band something seemed to be going on
Yeah.
because because it wasn't necessary. Oh, so we'll start with Warrant then because they were the
Right.
headliner.
Right.
Robert and Robbie Crane were fine.
Right.
It was the original Warrant guys that were like they had no interest in being there. It sounded like,
No, they
and
didn't.
it looked like like you could tell.
Right. You're
Kinda
no,
like,
you're not lying, dude. They had no interest. I told you that. Like, they was like, dude, they don't want to be there, especially Joey Allen. He was just like, let's just play these songs so I get paid and get the fuck out.
yeah,
You know?
and you could tell that. Like Robert always puts on a good show. Every time I seen Robbie Crane, he's always
Yeah.
out there doing it too. He's
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, it was just like the original Warren guys was like, am I here to see Warren or am I just like here to see Robert?
Right.
Like, and Robert,
Right.
like I
Right.
don't know. But that was the end of the night.
Right.
So all throughout the night, like Firehouse, like some of like the guitar tech, I don't know what was going on. Like Firehouse didn't sound crisp. Like
Right.
Nate Peck sounded good. Like
Yeah.
everything was okay, but like just I don't know if it was just like the PA system or something was off.
Right.
So there was that. And then Lita Ford. I mean, I'm just not a big Lita Ford guy to begin with,
Yeah.
but like she was all right. Nothing horrible or
To be honest, she was the best one there.
probably sound wise.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sound wise, everything. She was the best one there.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
And then before Warren
Oh
came
God.
on, you remember this? Before this is what really set me off though for the end of the night. I was like, I might just we just might leave here now after seeing this. The radio station or whoever sponsored that show that night were out there. They gunned out like t-shirts or whatever merchandise.
Yeah.
I guess it was like Warren shirts or Firehouse or something, some band merch, and this shirt goes like it was kind of close to us, but like it was like in the middle of the aisle.
Yeah.
And like there's like these little like teenagers or little kids that were running after it.
Yep.
And this like big fat bitch, drunk fat bitch comes in and bulldozes these kids, and I'm
Oh
like,
yes, I forgot about that.
oh,
Yes.
see, that's what really set me off for the night. That and Nelson, that was the two main things that really pissed me off.
Man.
And then, and that just put me in a raw mood for Warrant then, and it just that night was just weird, man. It was weird.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
the setup and everything. Oh well, we didn't even get the beer was like $20 a beer, right?
Yeah, and then there was like a no way like you had to tip them. There was no thing saying custom. Well, it said custom tip, but there was no thing saying. But the custom tip is like it wouldn't put zero on it. It said you had to tip them for
Yes.
giving you a fucking beer. I looked at you. I was like, yeah, because it was like $79 for 4 beers.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy.
And I looked at you. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and oh my god, it was crazy, man. That was a crazy night. And then another show here. The show was fine, I think, from what I remember when we went. I think was it the Vixen? Who was with Vixen that night when we see
Docking.
Was it the Dawkins show then? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
Oh
it was,
God, I remember that too. Go ahead, dude. Tell
Yeah,
the story.
well, I mean, the show was fine for what it was. It was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it
Like,
was.
I'm not having an issue with the fucking show itself, but when we were talking to the security guard, And like we were talking to him like throughout the show, and he seemed cool and stuff. And
Right.
we were like, "Hey man, you want to get us backstage? Like, we'll give you some money or whatever."
Yeah.
And I mean, I only gave him like it was like $20. It wasn't that much.
Right.
But I mean, that's kind of it's not like I gave him the world and he turned his back on us. But
Right.
like how the York Fair is, like you can kind of sneak in after the show, like underneath, and that's what I did. And you didn't want to do it with me.
Yeah,
And
because they were going to arrest your ass. They were looking for
no,
you.
well, see, like because year prior I did
Yeah.
that, like when I was by myself for the Warrant show, because Warrant
Yeah.
was there, Kix was there, and somebody else. So I got through that easy, no problem, no one cared.
Right.
But when I did it with you guys there for the Doc and Vixen show, I got in there for a little bit, but then like obviously that security guard saw me like just walking randomly in the back
Yeah.
and was like, "Hey man, yeah, you're not supposed to be here." So he, like I said, "All right, fuck, I guess I'll leave." So
But
so
it started it. There wasn't a lot of people there. And the beginning of it, remember, we were thought we can go in, and we told that girl we're coming right back. She was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you guys," and
yeah,
all that. And we left, and then they tried to charge us again. I remember that. We were like, "No,
yeah,
no, no."
yeah.
She told us something different. I
Yeah, we were
remember
there.
that shit.
Yeah, we were there arguing, pleading our case there for like it felt like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's like the one cop was cool. Like he
Yeah.
remembered us and like kind of saw the situation beforehand
Right.
and like knew we weren't just like bullshitting. So
Right.
like he kind of let us in for the
Yep.
most part because like the main cop, like like his boss or whatever, he kind of had to say to him like, "No, these guys were here and like I saw them talking to him and stuff."
Yeah.
That actually worked out okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, fuck that. Yeah, that was just stupid. That was horrible.
It's
So
always some kind of fiasco, man. Like all the time.
I know, especially when you mix the alcohol too. So that always makes it more fun. But
Jesus.
yeah, we turned over a new leaf, so I'm not really that much of a drinker anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
So that's all good. We got to prolong our lives, you know, AJ?
Yep. Yep, exactly. But no, like I'm thinking here while you're talking, there was one other show that I saw, and it was like maybe a couple years after that. And it was LA, I think it was LA Guns,
Mm.
Black and Blue.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and it was at this place called Thunderdome that was in Baltimore.
Okay.
And then there was like some fiasco shit going on. Like Philip Lewis was pissed off about something, and he like kicked the fucking monitor, and he was like yelling to the side of the stage. And then the band kept playing. This was before like Tracy got back in the band. This is when they had Stacy
Oh, okay.
Blades in the band. Yeah, and fucking Phil like kicked the fucking monitor, and everybody's like looking around like, what the fuck? Like he was pissed, and he walked off stage. And then I guess, and the band kept playing, and then for a good 10 minutes, and then he finally came back out. So I don't know what was going on. That was another like 3 or 4 songs in, and Phil fucking just went off his fucking rocker, and he's like, throwing his fucking middle finger up at the side of the stage, kicked the fucking monitor, walked off. I was like, what? So yeah.
Man. Yeah, is there any like lower tier shows that we've seen that we didn't have that good of a time? I think everything else is pretty much a fun time,
Yeah,
from what I remember.
except for that one that rap band that you like so much. Oh my
Alex
god.
Ellen.
Yeah.
Not a fan, huh?
I don't know. I mean, I love Bomb, dude. He's the man.
Yeah,
Like
Bob's
he
there.
does him in his 37 bands that he's in. Like he's a great guitar player. I love that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that band is like he tried, and and he couldn't get the singer to do what he wanted. And I agree with that because that's Bomb's band.
Right.
And I just feel like, it could be better. It could be better. But I mean, Bomb's doing this shot the devil thing, and that's all he needs. He don't
Yeah.
need 37 other fucking bands to be in.
That's the thing. Shout Out the Devil is the biggest one that he's in,
Yeah.
obviously. And like people do want them around. Like they play in Virginia, they play in Maryland, they play
They play
Pennsylvania.
everywhere.
Yeah, they play a lot of this tri-state area. So yeah, he's more than busy from what it looks like on the outside here, like with that alone. So
Right. But honestly, I think that night, like, you were like having the time of your life, and me and your sister were in the background. Well, what the fuck is this shit?
oh yeah, I mean, because I know like yes, Randy doesn't sound like Stephen Piercy. No, he
Oh,
doesn't. But I do like Randy, like because he was good in Time Bomb, you know.
yeah,
So it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, so I don't think even think they're together. I think everyone kind of like split up then
yeah,
basically
yep.
after that. So
That's it. Yep.
yeah, man. And I haven't really been to. I only been to like two shows so far, or in 25 now,
Right.
last year. So like I don't really had too many stories. Like Spread Eagle was awesome.
Yeah, I just saw them a couple weeks ago up in halftime. They were there
Yeah.
for
Okay.
their Christmas party. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Begging
Well,
Ray, I was begging Ray. I was like, play through these eyes. And he's like, I'll play it. And I was like, yes. And he
that's
played it at
awesome.
the end of the set. I'm like, you are the man. I was like, thank you.
That is awesome. I did ask him. I was like, "Hey, can you play Faith or like some of the ballads off the second album?" He was like, "No, no one asked me that for like 10, 20 years." And I said, "Well, maybe you should do it then. Just bring out a wild card here." So, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
man.
they don't, that's what I'm saying. Like, they haven't played it. Like, I don't think Tommy, what's his name? Tommy? Or,
Oh,
yeah, the
the
new
new,
guitar player.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
awesome. Oh my God, he's
he is
great.
good, very good.
Yeah, but I don't think he knows it. He might, but
And I
you
mean,
never know.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure he can play it. I
Oh,
mean, that's
100%.
that's not the really, yeah. It's just like, well, we know what works. That's the thing
Yeah.
too. Just to do something random like that, springing on him. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. Well, hopefully we do have a show coming up here to see Prince Diamond.
Yeah.
So we
And
might have
he's
another.
done. You said he's done after that, right?
I mean, where else? He doesn't play anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, as far as I've seen the last couple years, he's just been playing this Xmas show, and then that's pretty much it. And I mean, he's not getting younger. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just seems like there's not too many places around here to play anymore, like it was for us like 5 years ago, even.
Right.
So it's because like Ti's done. They're they're out. Um, Double Barrel is even like they changed owners, so like this is that. I think that's like the reason why this Xmas show is the last show that they're doing because it's new owners, and I don't know if they're going to do rock anymore or what have you. So
Right.
it's
And
just times are changing, man. It's getting worse for us out here, as
I
far as the
mean,
live anyway.
well, that's how it is down in Maryland. It's like it's all cover bands, and it's pretty much a bunch of guys who work all week and just get off work and like, oh, we're gonna play some hits and make a $300 to split between us or a free bar tab, and just like everybody shares the same fucking set list.
Yes, that's the problem. That
Everybody.
is the problem. Yeah.
And it's
Ah,
constant. It's constant, dude. But speaking of bands, I did find a new band down here that's called Crystal Harp. And they play all like the 80s rock and glam and sleaze stuff. And they don't play, they make throw like one or two hit songs in there, but they play off the wall shit. Like I just saw them literally like last week.
okay.
And I was like, they're a bunch of like 20-year-olds and they're so good. But I mean, they're just coming out with this band. So I don't know how long they're going to do it, but
Right.
I mean, random shit. They did Nelson, and it wasn't Love and Affection, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they pulled out like shit out of their ass. I'm like, what the fuck? I haven't heard this in forever. But yeah,
That is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
That's, I mean, whenever anyone pulls Nelson out of their ass, you gotta commend them a little bit, at least,
yeah,
no matter what song it is. But yeah,
yeah.
man. I do have one more. So someone called in because I know you have experience with
Okay.
this band. So I want to get your take on this.
What up, Trevor? Ryan here from Metalkast. Okay, disaster story. Here we go. It pains me to say this, but I went to see Stephen Piercy live at a cool rock club in Santa Clara, California in probably 2015. And I'm a huge Rat guy. I got the Detonator R tattooed on my back right shoulder blade. That's how much I love Rat. And dude, I'll tell you what, I fucking walked out. About 3 songs in, I could not take it. I could not believe it. It was like the equivalent of Don Dokken in 2025-26. So it pained me, it broke my heart. That's my rock and roll live concert disaster story. All right, take care, bud.
Okay. Do you have anything? Because I know you've seen Stephen Piercy multiple
I've
times.
seen Stephen Piercy a lot. Like there's a
Okay.
couple of times where he has been off So I mean, I'm not saying that dude's bullshitting. Like I'm sure it happened,
Hmm.
but the last time I saw Piercy is he was just on his game. Like it was he was involved with the fans, and he acted like, oh, I love this. I want to continue to do this. And it was just a new dude. And I mean, the way and I've been seeing videos of him with Warren here the past, few months, and it's the same thing. Like they have that fucking energy together. You can't deny that. And I think they both bring out the best in each other. And Pearson is on his game. Yeah, he might not sound like he did in 1983. Who gives
Hmm.
a shit? Like Don doesn't sound the same.
Hmm.
Axel doesn't sound the same. They're all not like 22-year-old guys anymore. You know what I mean? But
Right.
Piercy is. I don't know. Like I don't know. In the past like couple of years, I don't know what happened. I don't know idea. But he has just been on his game, and I
Uh,
would I would pay any amount of money to go see him again.
okay. Now
Yeah.
he did stop drinking somewhat recently, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I think Ryan here says that was like in the mid 2000s. So like he
yeah,
was drinking then, right? It
yeah.
might have something to do with that. That would be my guess, but
Probably.
you know, so yeah, I mean, and it does seem like the Warren and Steven did light a new fire
Oh
beneath
yeah,
them, you know. So
it sounds great. Everything that I've heard has been good, but you're always going to have somebody like, "Oh, this fucking sucks." You
yeah,
know, it is
yeah,
what it is. Like somebody's talk shit about Axel. There was something, the new songs that they put out, and it was like, "Oh, this sucks," and like I had to, say, Axel's not 27 years old anymore.
yeah.
He's not going to sound the same. It's just
Hmm.
what it is.
Now speaking of Axel, did you like the two new singles that came out?
Absolutely.
I did too. I liked them. It
Absolutely. I
reminded me
loved
so
it.
much of Chinese Democracy, and I mean, you love Chinese Democracy too,
Oh, I
right?
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And me too. So like that's kind of I think why we like those so much. But like if anyone's looking for Appetite for Destruction, that's not
You're
it.
not getting it.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not getting it. You're
Hmm.
never going to get it again.
Hmm. Yeah, no matter who's on playing. It could be Slash, it could be Duff, still. But like
Right.
it's just move on, if you will.
Right.
Like
Yeah, right.
dude, if you didn't come on today, I was gonna do a Chinese market, which I'm still gonna do, but like I am doing a deep dive on Chinese democracy. And if people listen to that with an open mind, like Molly Crew 1994, and get rid of some of that layering that Axel put on Chinese democracy, same thing with Shaka Messiah's Violent New Breed. If you got rid
Yeah.
of like that industrial layer, that's just another version of Second Coming, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
do you think that's because I think Axel sounds great on Chinese
Oh, he
democracy.
does. Yeah. I mean, like, there's like three or four songs on there that I would put on repeat all day
Oh
long.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like, Sorry is probably my second favorite Guns N' Roses song ever. And
Interesting. Yeah.
I love it to death. And I mean, it's just every song on there. It's just like I said, when the album came out, everybody expected Appetite for Destruction.
You're right.
Everybody expected Use Your Illusion. You're not getting it.
Hmm.
You're not. And you're never going to get it. You can bring back Izzy. You can bring back Steven or Matt or,
Yeah.
anybody that was played with them before. It's just, you're not going to get that same sound anymore. Times have changed, my friend.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. I'm
you
with you.
know,
You just gotta live with it.
yeah,
As much as good as Appetite is,
yep.
it's just what it was at the time. Like you're just not gonna recreate a lightning in a bottle, if you
No,
will.
you're not. You're
So
not. I mean, all the drugs they were on and the way they
yeah,
lived and stuff, it's like they lived in fucking boxes, it's,
yes, you're
and
just not
that,
gonna recreate that.
no, they're not going to. So it is what it is. You either like it or you don't. You don't like it, don't listen to it.
Yeah. Yep. Now I got one small thing here before I let you go,
All
AJ.
right, dude.
Any word or any news on the new Shaka Messiah stuff? I heard rufflings lately that they are talking
That's
him.
the last thing I heard is they're
Okay.
talking, and I don't know if they're gonna bring Zinni back in
Mm,
or I don't know like where the relationship stands between Zinni
yeah.
and
Him and
them,
him.
but yeah, I don't. I would love to hear something new. I mean, you throw it out there, you go see him, and he's been doing like fucking shotgun songs when
Yeah,
you
Living
know,
Without You.
yeah, he does it. So, and he's never done it before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Never done it before.
And
So,
remember that Instagram post like 2 years ago of Tim posted with him and Harry from the Shotgun days,
yep,
and he said like something mysterious, like omnibus about it, like oh what if or something. He just posted it, and
yeah,
because he never would talk about the Shotgun
he
days,
wouldn't,
right?
and people would ask him, and he just no one nothing to do with that. But now I think he knows that you're not getting any younger,
Yeah.
and he has people throwing shotgun stuff at him all the time. So why not like bring it back at least like just do something, get
Yes.
on like a festival or something like that and just see how it hands out. People will probably love that shit.
Oh my God. Even just a single or two. Like it doesn't even
Yeah.
have to be a full length album or anything. Just do
Yeah.
something to nod to your fans that still love you after all these years.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, it's just we have to see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, at least we have the hope now.
Yeah.
At least we have that. So,
Yeah.
all right, brother.
Yeah,
I
dude.
think that's our piece here for our live disaster segments. So, my man, come back on anytime and give us some rants because that's what we love doing anymore.
Fuck these people.
uh, all right, my man. Thanks for coming on, man, and we'll do it again. All right.
All right, dude. I'll talk with you soon, man. Thanks.
All right. There's actually one more story that came to my mind. I think it was just like a tribute show or something. And I remember I was having a few drinks. And I don't remember exactly the show, but like I said, it's probably just a tribute show or something. But I remember I was out back with one of the bands, and my beer bottle was empty, and and my and like you're in like kind of like the back of the bar or like of the building, like where the buses are, like the trucks and stuff like that are, with the gear and stuff, and my bottle was empty, and I thought this thing was a like a dumpster, to throw garbage in, and I throw it like on top, and it rolled off. So like I was like, is the door closed on this dumpster here? Because like it's like high enough to where like I couldn't exactly see like if the lid was closed or just pushed over. You know how like when you push it over the back, it just falls behind, so like you don't know. And it was like a little higher, and obviously it's dark out and shit, and you're talking to people and stuff. And I grabbed my bottle again because it came down, and I threw it back up. I threw it back up, and the next thing I hear is who keeps throwing beer bottles on uh my trailer. So this was like a very heavy duty like trailer to put like gear in. And I was like, "Oh shit. My bad, man." Like I went over talked to him, apologize and stuff. He was like kind of mad at first, but the more I talked to him, like he settled down a little bit and stuff. So that was actually kind of funny. I guess he was coming. I think he was like one of the first bands that was on. I can't remember exactly,
We are not role models for your life.
but it was pretty funny. But because I was like, oh fuck, like I obviously if I knew it was like someone's shit, I wouldn't have done that. Obviously, I thought it was a dumpster, and I'd been there plenty of times at this place, this bar, so I should have somewhat known that that wasn't. But when you're like busy talking to people and stuff, and you're got a bottle, you just want to get rid of it. You throw it in something that looks like a dumpster. So and it's dark, like I said. So, and maybe after a couple beers. So, yeah, it is what it is. So that was actually like a disaster of me, basically story. So that's pretty fun. Yes, fun, silly shit. So that is pretty much gonna wrap up, I think, the segment anyway. So I do want to finish off here with an album that I've been listening to this week. I've kind of forgot about this album. I bought this back in high school. Even probably like, well, yeah, early high school, I would say. 10th grade-ish. Because I remember playing this album a lot to like Call of Duty World at War. And that came out roughly like 2006, seven-ish, I guess. And I played this all the time. And I think one of the reasons why I connected, or why it has that connection to me, is because World of War is like World War One based, World War Two and stuff. So this album is World War One based. It's like kind of like a concept album of World War One. Obviously, Black Label Society, 1919 Eternal is the album. It came out in 2002, and like I said, I'm a big fan of Zach, but I initially only knew Zach from Ozzy and Black Label. Like I didn't know any of his solo stuff, like as far as like Zach Wild solo stuff, like really melodic, really soulful type stuff, like Book of Shadows and Pride and Glory and stuff like that. I was not aware of that at the time. So this is like the beginning of my Zach Wild journey, along with like Shot to Hell, which came out in 2006. I remember getting that for Christmas. But this I bought on my own here, like off eBay or whatever. And there is a good amount of a decent amount of songs. This ain't like my favorite album or anything, but it did bring back some memories when I listened to it this week. I saw it on Amazon Music. I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember. Because like, there's not, like I said, only probably like half the album is on the iPod. So, and I just don't visit Black Label that much in them and of itself as much as I do like Zach Wild stuff, if you will. Um, like I just explained. So like only one single on here was "Bleed for Me." That's a good song, but there is like four of these songs were written for Ozzy's Down to Earth album, and Ozzy rejected them basically or whatever, and so that's why Zach did put them on this album then. And I think the songs were "Bleed for Me," "Life, Birth, Blood, Doomed," which is a really good song as well. "Demise of Sanity," don't really remember that one as much, and "Bridge to Cross," and then the demo of "Find a Way." So you do have like 14 total tracks. Now the last one is an instrumental, "America the Beautiful," which is actually really done really well. "Lost Heaven" is a cool song. That kind of like a slower type pace type deal. "Graveyard Disciples" has a pretty cool riff to it. "Life, Birth, Blood, Doom" is, like I said, really cool. "Lords of Destruction," "Bleed for Me." There is good songs on here. I do like this album, even without the connection type deal. But still, it's not one I get to that much. And I just don't, like I said, I don't get the Black Label that much anymore. Um, very few albums. Like I said, it's kind of more of the same with Black Label. It's a little too heavy just to be too heavy, kind of. And that's weird because like the more you dig into Zach's work, he does not need to do this. Like he does not need to have this strong this long string of albums like of Black Label Society to be just heavy, heavy, heavy. And I think Black Label's Society, like his ballads in this catalog really like hold up well. And I think it's a testament to Zach's songwriting and just him being able to play music beautifully, that I think is kind of, to me, why I think Black Label Society as a whole is overkill with their heaviness. I think it's just a little overkill. It's just metal to be metal, kind of, and not for the better all the time. Like there are great bangers. Like I said, there are great bangers in Black Label Society's catalog. But as like when I listen to one album, I don't need to go to listen to another one. That's just where I'm at, kind of with BLS. So another interesting thing here about this is Zach Wild played all the instruments pretty much, except drums. He did play, or Craig Neuermacher played drums. Robert Trujillo, I guess, from Metallica fame as well. He played bass on "Demise of Sanity" and "Life, Birth, Blood, Doom" as well, so that's pretty cool. But Zach Wild did everything else on every other song: vocals, guitars, and bass. He did all that, and he produced the motherfucker too. That is crazy. It is on Spitfire Records, and like that's awesome. Like Zach Wild is one of those guys I feel like doesn't get enough attention for how great and how much of a variety of music he has. Like everyone always thinks of him obviously as like Ozzy sidekick and Black Label. There's way more to Zach's music and catalog than just these two things, and it's just kind of a shame that that's what he's only known by. But yeah, I whenever I get a chance to preach his like other like slower, more peaceful, more peaceful solo work, I will because it's absolutely amazing. Some of my favorite albums of all time, like that, like Book of Shadows, like I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite albums in rock and metal, one of my favorite. So that's an album that I've been listening to, 1919 Eternal. I just thought I'd bring that up because it does bring me back a little bit. Gives me some sentimental value when I play it, even though it's not the greatest album by any means, but it's still pretty good. You have other people giving it like 8 out of 10s and shit. I don't know if I would go that far. Although I would argue it is like when I listen to it again, this week, I or the past couple weeks, I I did find myself a little surprised that I got through it all as well as I did. So it might have aged better for me than say when I was younger, which is actually kind of crazy because like I was more into heavier stuff when I was younger than I am now. So like, which well, I don't know. That's something to ponder a little bit, but nonetheless, Black Label Society's 1919 Eternal is an album that I have been visiting lately, so I thought I would relay the message to you guys. So, guys, I think that's gonna pretty much wrap up the third installment of Hairspray and Headshots. Let me know what your guys' worst live shows were, like your worst experiences. We've had plenty of funny ones here in this show, and there's probably other ones that I forgot about, but these were the ones that really came to my mind first. And there'll probably be plenty more in our lives as well. So I'm always interested to see what you guys have to say about this, giving me these stories. It's funny reading these comments about that and stuff like that. Just, it's amazing how things work out sometimes, ain't it? But guys, until next time, stay out of that collateral damage. Thank you so much for watching. Click the subscribe button. And if you guys enjoyed this installment of Hairspray and Headshots, check out the whole series right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.